Hey everybody, welcome back to Online Growth Systems Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the open internet, what it is, and how it could be affecting you right now with the net neutrality repeal. And as always, if you stay till the end of the video, we will be giving you the link to a spot where you can download a free PDF document that lists everyone's, where you live, your state, and exactly who your congressmen are in the state and the House and their contact information. So that way, whether you are for net neutrality or against it, you can contact them as easy as sending them a letter or sending them an email. So make sure you stay till the end so you can download that free PDF. All right, so let's dive right into it. Net neutrality laws were just repealed by the FCC, which is the Federal Communications Committee. So what is happening is pretty much the net neutrality was an existing law. And now that they repealed it, what that means is the law used to protect all websites, all apps, all content, doesn't really matter, and make sure that they're treated equally from the perspective of internet service providers. So that's like Verizon Wireless, AT&T, Sprint, DirecTV, Comcast, stuff like that. The people who are providing you your internet access, now that that protection is taken away, they have the ability to filter, like Big Brother kind of a thing, kind of creepy. They have the ability to filter what you can see and what you can't see. Oh, what? You want to watch Netflix? Sorry, you have to pay another $5 a month, so that way you can actually have it streamed faster. Otherwise, if you don't want to pay that extra $5, Verizon has the ability to slow that down, so that way it's super slow bandwidth. Bandwidth is a hose, okay? And that's your service provider, your internet service provider. And whenever you're trying to get things through that pipeline, that hose, water running through that hose, that's like an app that you're trying to watch, or a video, or a show on Netflix, or a website you're trying to visit, Facebook posts you're trying to watch. And whenever that pipeline gets full, it becomes harder and harder for those internet providers to provide you that service. So what they can do now is they can say, okay, you want to watch video, which takes more of the pipeline up for you to watch versus reading a tweet, we're going to charge you an extra $5. So what does that mean for the open internet? We no longer have an open internet. At least we do for a couple more months, because this is going to take a couple of months for it to implement into actual daily business practices, because they have to go through a review, and they have to enact it into law, and they have to do all kinds of BS, right? So right now, we have an open internet. We have had an open internet since 2015 under the Barack Obama administration, when they passed net neutrality laws. Now, we did have minor net neutrality laws previous to 2015. That's known as Clause 1, but now with Clause 2 in 2015, that pretty much made all internet service providers treat the internet equally, whether it's a small Shopify store, an Etsy store, or a giant like Google, Netflix, or YouTube, right? So they have to treat everybody the same, which is beneficial for the small guys, the small entrepreneurs, because now they can get their content to you just as easily as the big players, the giants and the monopolies of the internet right now. Now, of course, you can say, well, I mean, Dick, don't you preach about taking over the internet and being the next Uber, right? And, taking out the taxis or the Airbnb. Yes, I do talk about that. And what this means for those small startups that are trying to compete with these big pocket companies like Netflix is, now, if you are a small startup, you're trying to start a new, let's say the next streaming service. It's going to be the next HBO, Hulu, Netflix kind of a thing, okay? You now are competing for that bandwidth from the internet service providers to get to your consumers, because no one will use your product if it's buffering more often than you're watching, right? Nobody wants to buffer for 5 minutes to watch a half-hour clip, right? They'll just click next button, or they'll go to a different service, right? So what this means is what is going to happen is, and what has happened, I'll show some screenshots here. What has happened in the past is Netflix has had to pay internet service providing companies money to enable their services, their Netflix service, to be streamed faster to their consumers. So you can see like all these articles saying, wow, this is why Netflix got so much faster, and overnight, seemingly. It's not like they did a bunch of infrastructure and put in a bunch of new Ethernet cables. No, that's not the case. What happened is they paid the internet service providers a bunch of money, and those internet service providers gave the bandwidth, gave the pipeline, the room in the pipeline, in the tunnel, in the hose for the water, for their streaming service to not buffer, to give them enough data to be streamed seamlessly to their customers. So that was beneficial for Netflix because now they have people staying on their service because they like they like to watch it right when they want to see it. And that's beneficial to the companies that are providing the internet because now they're getting this huge check from Netflix every month. But what does that mean for the consumer? The consumer, what it's going to mean long term, after the open internet has been closed, and it's called a closed internet at this point, or a year from now, whenever the net neutrality repeal actually impacts our daily lives, and these companies like Comcast and Verizon and Sprint and AT&T start enacting these and taking advantage of the financial, and it's smart for them to take advantage of these financial situations because they could potentially double their profit overnight without doing any infrastructure, without doing any investing. So what that means for the small consumer is Netflix is now paying these companies, or Hulu is paying these companies, or HBO is paying these companies to have their service provided quickly and easily accessible to their customers, which means Netflix costs are going to go up. Where do you think Netflix is going to pay for that? They're going to deflect that cost onto the consumer. Now, internationally, I would hope that Netflix wouldn't distribute that cost amongst every Netflix user, but assumingly, if they're having extra cost to provide their service in the U.S., they're going to bounce that cost onto U.S. Consumers, which means instead of paying $10 a month, you might be paying $12 a month now because that extra $2 is going towards making it faster for you to receive it. But that's if your company is the company that's giving you the internet is the company that Netflix made a deal with. So if you have a phone with Verizon, like I do, but Netflix made a deal with Sprint, that is your prices for Netflix will still go up, but it's still going to buffer because they didn't make the deal with your internet provider. Hence the reason it's going to be a closed internet, because it's not going to be everyone equal no matter what you're looking at, no matter what content, what opinion, what website, what streaming service, what app you're using. It doesn't matter. All these providers used to have to treat them equally, and that is no longer the case. So that's why it's a big deal to know what the issues are, what the current events are, the hot button topics on net neutrality laws, net neutrality being repealed, and what the open internet was and how it's no longer going to be that. So how can you make a difference? What can you do to change these things? Contact your congressman. So there's laws out there right now that say that the Congress, so this is the House and the Senate, so you're either your two senators or depending on the population of what state you're from, you have X amount of representatives in the House of Representatives that can advocate to repeal these decisions or to repeal the repeal, right? So they can pretty much do the stamp of denial on these federal agencies. So this is all the federal government. This is like the big one. So if you know, there's like the federal government, which is the United States as a country, right? The FBI's Federal Investigations Bureau, right? It applies to their whole U.S. is their jurisdiction, right? CIA is external stuff, right? And like law enforcement is for your town, right? State troopers, those are state governments. So what this net neutrality stuff, this open internet, is a federal issue. So you need to write your federal congressman, which is your senators and your representatives, and let them know, hey, I am against this repeal for net neutrality. We'll include some links down in the description below. We'll just be providing links to where you can contact, where you can find out. You can actually search, even if you don't know who your congressmen are. Sometimes they have a little link on their own website that says, boom, boom, boom. You just fill in your name, your email in case they want to reply to you, and your little message, right? It could take you 5 minutes, but if everyone would collectively do this, it's going to make a huge impact about getting the open internet back. So thanks guys for watching. I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out this video. If you agree with having an open internet, if you're against having an open internet, I want to know in the comments below. I want to keep it a clean, try not to piss anybody off. I mean, as much as I like a good controversy once in a while, I really want to authentically know if you're for it or if you're against it. And of course, we're going to have links in the description below about our other videos in this series. We talk about what is the net neutrality law, what does it mean for your stocks. If you're in stocks, I happen to buy some Verizon stock just because I kind of saw this coming. So check them out below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated with these events, because this is the day after that this law was repealed that we're making this video. So If you want to stay up to current events, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and the little bell notification in the corner will actually let you know when we release a video on this topic. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.